Thank you all for joining. My name is Anthony Ruano, Director of Solutions Engineering here at NUSO. I'm sure a lot of you throughout the years have heard me talk on these webinars, or we've met in person or spoken on the phone in some capacity. So
And
awesome.
David Willis here. I'm also on the Solutions Engineering team, and welcome everybody. We'll be going back and forth with Phil, Anthony, and I, and try to answer the questions as we get them. So
that is right. And lastly, my name's Phil Stern. I'm the Partner Program Manager here at NUSO. And with that, real quickly, we're looking at our agenda today. We're going to be going over some really cool stuff. CRM integrations. We're going to start there. And then we're going to talk about how we integrate things like our Connect Recorder, Microsoft Teams, specifically around the Platform Connect. And then, of course, we've got questions coming. So I'm going to hand this off to Mr. Anthony. Anthony, take it away.
Absolutely. Yeah. So when we start to look at different challenges for businesses, one of the main ones that comes up frequently is challenges of CRM integrations within both your hosted phone platform as well as your contact center platform. We start to look at things like multiple platforms, right? So in most cases, a business is depending on a CRM, such being Salesforce, HubSpot, Dynamics, Zoho. There's a ton, and really what we're trying to look for here is integrating them with your phone system, right? So what we're doing by that is we're actually enhancing the workflows. So it's actually driving a deeper connection when we're looking at the customer experience there. And also your employees' experience, right? If we're able to put things in front of them in an easier format or easier to digest, it's really helpful, and it works both sides of it, right? So not just on the customer side, but actually on the employee side as well. We've noticed a huge difference there. Just to briefly touch on the disjointed data side of things, sometimes you'll pull up the wrong contact or you're putting the notes in the wrong place. So by having that actual contact show up, the correct contact show up when that call comes in, really, again, helps that customer experience there. All right, Phil, we can go over to the next one. So when we're talking about a CRM integration, right? Let's kind of get into the birth of that, right? So what a CRM integration is, we are tying the phone system that you already have with the CRM, so the customer relationship manager system that you're already using. Okay. So again, just to kind of hit some of the top CRMs that we integrate with, we'll go with Pipedrive, ServiceNow, Salesforce, Oracle, Zendesk, Microsoft Dynamics 365, and a ton of others, which we'll get into a list here shortly. But some of the key capabilities that we're going to be able to use, and again, this is where we start to streamline these work processes, right? So click to dial, right? What is click to dial? Well, in your CRM, so let's say, for example, Salesforce, for example, every single one of your contacts has a phone number on it. Well, instead of having to go and looking up the contact and having to dial that number on the phone or soft phone or whatever endpoint you're using, with our CRM integration now, what we're doing is we're opening the ability for you to do a click to dial. Okay. So what that is, it's clicking on the phone number. It's going to ring out to your endpoint device. Once you answer that, it'll start that call. Okay. That's one capability. Now we start to look at data sync, right? So it's automatically updating any records, with the live interaction and call details for that. And that's when we go right into the call logging side of things, right? So even if it's an inbound or outbound call, doesn't matter the direction of there, we're actually able to log that call automatically. So, taking the human out of it a little bit, right? Because sometimes the call logging gets forgotten. Trust me, it happens here and it happens to me. So this is nice with automatic call logging on there. Again, increasing workflows and efficiencies is really the point of this here. Screen pops. Okay. This is, really the bread and butter of a CRM integration. So imagine a customer calls in, I answer the phone. Once they answer that phone on my computer screen, that customer's account is now on my screen. Okay. I'm no longer having to ask their name, their phone number, whatever identifying properties you use. So again, it's now making that initial call much cleaner in the way that it's coming in. And we're able to do that screen pop a few different ways. Okay. So I can do screen pops, and we can actually jump into the next screen here if you want, because we're going to start to talk about action buttons and real-time automations for it. All right. So how we're doing it. So the first thing we're going to do is action buttons, right? So we'll talk about that. What an action button is, if you can see on the screen here, a person called in, right? And I can go ahead and click, view relation, callback request, open ticket, or new ticket. This is depending on what CRM parameters they're giving to us, right? I can also go ahead and create an automation screen pop. So what happens there is, once that call comes in and I answer it, it's automatically going to pop that window up for me with that customer's profile. All right. When we look at fully configurable parameters, every CRM is different. Okay. But as you can see here on the green box in the screen, it says company name, bubble link. Then we have the contact. Here I can show their email address if I wanted to, their address, their city. Some of the stuff that we do internally, it'll show who the last contact person was, when the last contact date. But we have customers that'll put, what their last sale was, right? So let's say it's an auto parts store. Well, we want to know exactly what they bought, right? So they bought an exhaust system for a, 2012 Toyota Corolla, for example, and how much they paid for it. So like that, you have, before you even dive into that account, you've already got data that's being presented to you. So that, again, going back and just touching on the two main features on there, right? So we'll have the click to dial, we'll have the call logging, right? So at the time of the call, it's actually going to go ahead and log that call for you. And you're also able to add notes within that screen as well. Okay. So again, kind of simplifying the toggle of back and forth with that. On the next slide here, we'll be able to take a look at our integrations marketplace. Okay. This is a public facing website. So you can go to that. It's crm.nuso.cloud. And what you'll be able to find there is a list of over 200 different CRM systems that we integrate with. All right. Of course, we'd love to have a one-on-one call with you as well on this, right? So if you see it, or maybe you don't see the CRM, you can always reach out to your channel account manager. If you don't know who they are, you can reach out to marketing at nuso.cloud. And we can get on a call, kind of see exactly what needs you have for your CRM integration. We probably have it on the list since we got quite a bit on there, but we can really take a deep dive into how that CRM is going to work for your organization. All right, Nick.
Before we go on, we had a question in the chat. That only works if the caller ID is worked properly, like the DID number is used versus the main number. So basically, it will match the inbound caller ID to a specific account or contact. If that, if the number is not in there at all, you can have the option to add either the contact or build a new account.
And if it's an organization that they're calling out from the main phone number, right, and it's 20 folks that call in from that company, they can go ahead and call in. And for example, on Salesforce, which is what we use internally, it's going to pop up that account, but then it'll show all the available contacts for it that have that same number associated with it. So yeah, there's a few ways, of course, CRM cleanliness is a great thing, right? To have those names and contact in there. But yeah, there's a couple of ways to work that. But yeah, definitely it's always based on, accurate caller ID information that's required.
Yeah. And there's a follow-up question, the contact list we enter. It's basically the contact in the CRM, because that's what you're matching with, right? So if the caller ID is in the CRM, then it will pop that contact. If it is not in the CRM, whether it's in, a contact list within the, NUSO UCAS solution, doesn't matter. It's searching the whatever CRM that you're using. And if that contact number is not in there, you'll have the option to add it within that CRM.
Yeah. And one thing here too, just for compliance, because we're going to get into compliance next. We're not holding any of your contact information. Okay. So you could have 10,000 contacts inside of your CRM. So let's use Salesforce, for example. Those numbers are never being brought into our system. Okay. All we're doing is sending a signal out to the CRM to do the screen pop, So whatever context you have in there, as you add them in real time, they will pop. If somebody's calling in with a phone number for that contact. But yeah, we do not bring in any of your information into our system whatsoever. We're actually pushing out to yours. And since we were talking about compliance, now we're going to get into some fun stuff, which is the challenges of compliant call recording. Okay. So the largest one, right, is multiple technologies, right? So you could be using a traditional PBX with SIP trunking. You could be using Microsoft Teams, a traditional phone system, again, like an Avaya, a Cisco, or maybe even another cloud phone system, right? Like BroadSoft or Zoom. It could even be turret systems, right? So on a trading turret, for example, right, you'd maybe, again, a financial trading floor, right? And they're using turrets for trading on there. We have the ability with our compliant recorder to even record those types of calls, right? Now, you're able to save quite a bit of money since you're now not having to have any type of on-site recorders. Everything is AI, and then as we get into cloud-based, and then as we get into a bit of the AI on the next tab, multiple locations, right? So this is where we were talking about, since it's cloud-based, how you're really able to leverage that on this, right? So in a traditional setting, right, if everything was put on an on-site server and you had a phone system at each one of those, you would have to have a different recording server for each one of those. In our case, okay, on the cloud-based sites, and we can do on-prem as well. I do want to throw that back out there. But on the cloud-based side, you need one recording port. Okay. And I'm able to break that down into multiple locations or permissions or however you want that set for there. And when we start to look at the compliance side, I know we've got folks here from the US, but we've got some others on the call from other markets that we work with. And some of the stuff we do want to talk about is on the compliance side. So PCI, GDPR, MIFID2, HIPAA compliant as well. And again, with different retention policies, we're able to go ahead and set that up for you, right? So let's say that you need storage for 7 years, right? We can assist in the best practices ways for you to go ahead and have that. And nowadays, depending on the industry, these are requirements, right? Not just something that was nice to add onto the system. We spoke about some of the challenges of the recorder, but let's talk about how the NUSO Connect Recorder actually helps you out there, right? So again, compliance grade. So it's AI powered call recording. We do have the option for transcription, summary of that phone call, and even things like sentiment analysis, right? So you'll see once we get onto the next screen here in just a few minutes, how that actually works and how easy it is to start sorting through phone calls to see, I want all my calls that were great. I want some of my calls that were good. I want some of the calls that were bad, so I can go ahead and listen to those. It's platform agnostic, right? So again, not only is this for the voice side and legacy phone system, but we can also use this on Microsoft Teams as well. Okay. And it's again, single interface for you to control all those. Some of the key capabilities for the NUSO Connect Recorder. Right off the bat, we include 90-day storage. It does not matter how many calls you did in those 90 days. It's going to hold them for 90 days on there. The advanced search, like I said, so really easy and intuitive search and playback with custom filter settings that you're able to have on there. Personal and group dashboards, which we'll actually take a glance at here in a second. Full reporting and data, right? So like I said, you have the transcription on there if you wanted to, the summarization and the sentiment analysis. And one of my favorite things on there, and this is one of the kind of hot points when you start to look at call recording is, how do I know if somebody listened to that call? On here, we'll have full audit trails on event. Okay, so Anthony Ruano opened a recording. Anthony Ruano put a note on a recording. Anthony Ruano tagged the recording. More importantly, Anthony Ruano downloaded a recording, right? So these are all things. Yeah, no, the audit trails are big because again, if you get audited, they want to know exactly who's been looking or listening to those recordings. And I'm able to set permissions in so many different ways, which that one we're not gonna cover all those today. But we definitely love to, walk you through it on a one-to-one for the recording and really dive into the abilities of it. On the next page here, this is the dashboard that I spoke about, right? So what we're looking at here is just a groups dashboard looking for the last 30 days. I'm sorry, not 30 minutes. That'd be a lot of calls in 30 minutes. Yeah, no kidding. So it's giving us on here 3,448 calls, total duration 2 hours, 9 minutes, and 28 seconds. Or I'm sorry, 209 hours and 28. My brain is mush today. And then what the average duration of those calls, 3 minutes and 38 seconds on there. So on here, I can also see the sentiment for the last 30 days, right? So sentiment was neutral, right? So average sentiment on there, which is really cool. And on the bottom, it'll just show you how many recordings by day have been done. Now, if the auto switcher could please go to the next slide. All right, what we're looking at here now, this is the playback station. So this is really cool. I know it's a little smaller on there, but if you squint your eyes enough, you'll be able to see what we're looking at here. I'm going to go from left to right. Actually, I'm going to go from the top down. Remember I said you can create custom filters on your searches, so we can go ahead and create those custom filters there. I can do a quick search, right? So search call ID, search the agent's name or the employee's name, I'm sorry. But when I open up my filters, which again, we'll do that on a one-on-one call because there's about 30 different ways that I can search for calls there. We're able to pull those. We're in the playback station. So from left to right, I can play that. So open up that file. That would show up in your audit trail, by the way. It's going to show the type of call. So if you see that camcorder on there, I still call things a camcorder. It is going to, that's going to be a Microsoft Teams call. Okay. If you see a phone, that was just a voice call. Okay. It'll show you who the app user is. So this is an internal person in your organization. Okay. It'll show you the date and time, the duration of the call, the direction that it was. Was it an inbound call or an outbound call? If it's a Teams call, generally, right, it's going to show as a both directional. You have the opportunity to see what participants were in there without even opening it. Again, rules based. Not everybody can see who was on those calls. I can also take a look at what groups were associated with, right? Was it sales and marketing? Was there any tags provided for this call? Did anybody comment on there? So that'll be a small bubble display, 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, however. The transcription of that call, I can go ahead and click and open that. But like I said before, a really easy to search way to do this is let's search by sentiment, right? So I want to look at all my calls that are great. As you see here, my green is 2 different tones, right? Bright green is great. Light green is good. We don't ever have any red calls here at NUSO.
And no red frowny faces. That's what you don't want.
No red frowny faces. You got that right. And then was that call marked as confidential, right? So a specific user can have all of their calls marked as confidential. That means that only a select number of admins would be able to listen to that. But something that's really important to bring up too, I also have something called the do not record list. So on the left-hand side here, you'll see on the menu there, you'll see do not record list. Those are maybe phone numbers that you don't want to record. So for example, if I want to put our bank wire department's phone number on there, whenever one of my agents calls out to them, I don't want any call that's going to that department to be recorded. I can also do users. So for example, I don't want to record anybody that's calling HR, right? So if I put my HR user in there or their phone number, whenever somebody calls into HR, those calls will not be recorded, right? Another fun thing I can do with the do not record, listen, and I'm done talking about do not record, is I can put an area code. Okay. So for example, I can put start with 314, because let's say that that's a state where you are not authorized to record phone calls in. Yes, there is industries where you have to go through an approval process to actually record a phone call for that state. So I can start to put in lists of area codes on there. And I know that any call that I do that starts with 314, that call's not going to be recorded. You'll still have the log of that call, okay? But you won't have the recording of it.
While we're still on the recording, there's a question. Can the recording be placed on litigation hold? There's not really a specific litigation hold. We can extend the time period for the recordings to be held, but there's not a specific flag for litigation hold.
Yeah. And you can also download all of these recordings as well. Right. So if you go to the next screen there, Phil. All right. So on here, what we're doing. So this is how the playback stations look. And this was actually a Microsoft Teams meeting. Okay. So going from the top, you have your replay, your play, your pause, your stop, your fast forward. What speed do I want this call in? Okay. I can go ahead and add a tag to this call. I can add a comment. I can also download this individual file if I wanted to. Okay. So again, I just wanted to download this call. I can go ahead and do that. Just you see the transcript of the call here. So it's based on the user that's talking. Again, it'll show you any participants, any comments, tags, and just the call data essentially that you saw on the previous screen. And then you have your audit log. All right. There was a question about downloading the audit log.
No, not specifically the audit log. Downloading doesn't work for audit log for guarding against tampering. So yeah, so if you give them the ability to download, then obviously that doesn't guard against the tampering purposes. But based on the rules, you can set it so they cannot download if that's a concern.
Yep.
And we don't specifically have a list of the state that you cannot record in. I don't believe we house a specific list because obviously that can change.
It's not because it's not that you can't record in the state. Some states require two-party authorization, okay, or two-party consent on there. So what we've done with that is when you make a phone call out and the party answers the phone, there is a compliance message that said this call is now being recorded. Okay. At that point, the person has the option to hang up the call. They don't want to be recorded, of course. And that also works on inbound calls, right? So when they call in, somebody goes ahead and answers that. You can go ahead and it's going to go ahead and play that compliance message. Same thing with Microsoft Teams. So if it's a Teams call and you're recording that because it's going to automatically record it, it'll give that compliance message on top. And yeah, we can go all day on call recording. So it's something that seems so simple, right? But there's so many little nuances and intricacies to it that we can be in that one for a while for sure. All right. But again, if you wanted to take a look at the recorder in more detail and kind of spec it out to your business needs, just please reach out to your channel account manager or to marketing@nuso.cloud, and we can go ahead and set that up. Now we're going to talk about, lastly, our integration with Microsoft Teams. Okay. So when we're looking to integrate with Microsoft Teams, there's a couple different ways that it could be done. And there's really good ways of being done and some okay ways of doing it. The way that we've integrated with Microsoft Teams with a certified integration, okay, is we're actually allowing you to still continue to use your native dialer in Microsoft Teams. So I'm not adding a third-party app into an app. I'm actually letting you use the Microsoft dialer for your call.
You're just using Microsoft Teams that you're used to
using Microsoft Teams, right?
Yep.
And when we're looking at something like Platform Connect, which actually go ahead to the next slide because I want to go over the three different ways that we can offer voice into there, and then something else that we have. So on the Platform Connect side, right, you have your phone system with us. Let's say that you're on our green platform. All of your phone system functionality, right? So your auto attendance, your ring groups, anything that you're using with that all stays the same. But what we do here is that we integrate now that you're able to use the Microsoft Teams desktop application and their mobile application instead of our native apps. Okay. That's how we use it internally. We're on Teams all the time. So it just made it a bit more seamless for us to do that, and it's our product. So why not? That's one way that we're able to offer you Microsoft Teams. Okay. The other way, there's two others. So we have SIP Connect. So at that point, we've eliminated the NUSO phone system out of it, and we're using Microsoft Teams as the phone system itself. Okay. And you're doing that on a per call path basis. So let's say that you have 100 users, but you're never going to be on more than 20 phone calls at the same time. You would go ahead and, buy 20 SIP trunks for it, or direct routing trunks, or SIP Connect trunks, however you want to call it. You'll do that. You still have our network. You're just using Microsoft Teams as the phone system. Then lastly, we have Operator Connect. Operator Connect is my favorite when we're going directly into Microsoft Teams as the phone system, because what this is, my SIP Connect is I'm plugging into Microsoft Teams. With the Operator Connect, I have a direct connection into Microsoft, okay, through the Microsoft data centers and SBCs. So it makes it an extremely seamless, number one, integration and use. They both work great. I just like Operator Connect because it's easier for me to set it up. And again, now I'm on a one-to-one. The pricing is more than competitive on there. We've also built out an administrator portal to make things easier, because sometimes you go into Microsoft Teams and you get terrified and say, what am I supposed to do in here? All I want to do is change my auto attendant. Well, we've answered that question for you. And then lastly, and this could be as a standalone, or it could be part of any of the three options that we said here, was Messaging Connect. Okay, so what we have is we have built an app inside of Microsoft Teams for you to be able to send and receive text messages from there, as well as picture messages, right? So not just SMS, but also MMS capability. And again, we'd love to walk you through this all in a one-on-one. So please schedule a demo with us, reach out to your channel account manager, or marketing@nuso.cloud if you don't know who they are. And we'll go ahead and get that set up and really tailor the call based on what your business needs are. We have just hit this right on time, so I don't want to take any more of your time today. So we just hit that 30-minute mark. Again, my name is Anthony Ruano. We had Phil Stern and David Lillis on the call with us today. Thank you for taking time out of your Thursday. And yeah, we hope to be speaking to you soon. Thank you all.
Yep, that's right. Thanks, everybody. Have a fantastic day.